welcome to my channel. She checked into room 313 and was never seen again. The last person to book that room would be the last mistake the manager ever made. It's me, and these are the real stories behind. The Super 8 Motel on West 29th Street was just a regular place to lay your head at night, or so it seemed, but there was more to the rooms than met the eye. More specifically, there was something sinister behind door number 313. On June 24, 1996, a woman by the name of Polly Ann Farah walked through that door and vanished without a trace. Polly was a 34-year-old cocktail waitress who had worked at the Shark Club in Biloxi for years. Her colleagues described her as a free spirit who loved her job and was always smiling. Just 2 days before she went missing, Polly had filed for divorce from her estranged husband. No one knew where she would go after she left the house that night, and with no sign of forced entry, no signs of a struggle, and no witnesses, the police had no way of knowing what had happened to her. There were some small glimmers of hope. A statewide search was organized, and divers searched the bottom of the nearby lake. But, unfortunately, it turned up nothing. 3 days later, Polly's car was found abandoned near the motel, and her purse and keys were found inside the room she had rented. There were also several $100s in her checkbook missing, but still no sign of Polly. A week later, a local psychic came forward, claiming to have information about the case. He told the police that Polly was definitely dead, and that her body was hidden in a plastic container in the motel's laundry room. The police searched the laundry room but found nothing. Was the psychic correct? Did Polly's body really lie hidden in the motel? What had happened to her? It would be 3 months before the next big lead came along. A construction worker renovating a house not far from the motel found a buried plastic container. Inside was a woman's shoe. The shoe matched the ones Polly had been wearing when she disappeared. Hope flared again. Maybe they could find her body and lay her to rest. But sadly, that wasn't the case. It would be another 8 years before the mystery of room 313 was solved. In 2004, a new manager took over the motel. His name was Arthur Lee Henley. Now, while doing renovations, he discovered a metal box in the closet of room 313. When he opened it, he found a bundle of women's clothing, including Polly's distinctive white shorts and a pair of her underwear. Police also found a bloodied meat cleaver in the room, which they believed was used in the murder. The clothing and the weapon were sent to a lab for testing. DNA analysis revealed that the blood on the cleaver belonged to Polly. It was a match. But what had taken so long for them to find the evidence? The answer would shock the entire community. After questioning, Mr. Henley admitted to having killed at least 4 women and disposing of their bodies in the motel. During his trial, he pleaded not guilty, stating that he had no memory of the crime because he was an alcoholic. However, he did admit that he had buried some of the bodies in the backyard of the motel. The remains of 2 victims were found in shallow graves, and a third was found in a suitcase. Before he was sentenced to life in prison without parole, one of the families of the victims confronted him. They asked him where Polly's body was, wanting to give her a proper burial. He responded by saying that he didn't know. He had killed so many women that he couldn't keep track. What he did know, however, was that the person who had booked room 313 that night was not Polly at all. This is not the girl who disappeared. In the background, you can hear a woman's voice. That is a real voicemail left by Polly. In the early hours of the morning, the woman who checked into room 313 called her sister to tell her that she had arrived safely. But the recording ended abruptly, leaving Polly's sister to wonder, why did she stop? What happened? Why hasn't she called back? All these questions and more were answered during the trial. During cross-examination, it was revealed that Mr. Henley had lied about being an alcoholic. He had not even been an innocent bystander. He was a cold-blooded killer who had planned these murders in advance. He had put the ads in the newspaper to lure his victims to the motel, and had even offered to pay them $200 for a night's company. Polly had answered one such ad. She went to the motel, but she was not alone. She brought a friend with her, a friend that we know today as Bobby Joe Maxwell. Henley had no problem killing two birds with one stone. He led them both to their separate rooms, and over the next few weeks, he killed them both, stuffing their bodies in plastic containers and burying them under the concrete. So who was the woman who called Polly's sister from room 313? The woman in the motel room was Bobby Joe Maxwell, Polly's best friend. They had gone to the motel together to meet up with Arthur Henley, but when Bobby got off the phone, she saw a wild look on Polly's face, and she began screaming for help. Mr. Henley had attacked her with a meat cleaver. When Bobby tried to fight back, he killed her, too. Mr. Henley then called Polly's sister from Bobby's room, knowing full well that she would come to the motel. When she did, he killed her as well. And so it went on and on and on. That is the true story of room 313. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and come back soon for another video.